All right, so how's it going, guys? It's Steady or Jordan, whichever one you guys want to call me. Today, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to set up your live stream with Twitch. If that's something you decide to do, I've been asked that several times. How do you start streaming, or what software do you use? So today, I'm going to try to dive in and show you guys step by step how to set up your computer to stream to Twitch and give you the, I guess you could say, the best quality and going based off of your hardware. So you guys stick with me and I'll try to walk you guys through it. Okay, so we're back. As I told you guys before, I'm going to try to walk you guys through how to set up Twitch so that way you guys can live stream. So that way your friends, your family, whoever can watch your broadcast and you can begin your streaming journey and or career. Okay, so first, what you want to do is you want to have a Twitch page created. Once you've done that, you will have access to what we call a stream key, and you will also have access to these settings in OBS. Okay, so here we have the general tab. You don't really use that. Okay, so right here you've got your streaming service. So you're going to want to choose Twitch or whichever service you may choose to use. Whichever server's closest to you, make sure to use that, just because it gives you the best connection rate. Okay, on to output. On your output, you want to stay on the streaming side unless you want to do recording outside of Twitch. Okay, so here you have your audio tracks, your Twitch VOD track. That pretty well much just give you access to what audio is sent through to your Twitch feed and what is not. So you guys can kind of separate the audio however you guys see fit. There are more videos out there explaining that, so that way you guys can better understand it. Okay, so also, while we're in the streaming tab, you have the encoder settings. If you use an NVIDIA card, I highly recommend using the NVENC encoder. It has some of the best settings and the best quality that is seen without taxing your computer. There is also another one called X264. I'm currently recording right now, so you guys cannot see that. I recommend using NVENC if you only have one computer and you're streaming from that computer, because you're going to be using your processor if not, and it's going to put a lot of load on your PC, and that's really something you don't really want to do unless you have two PCs. Okay, moving on. For your output, you're going to want to set that to 1080 or 720, whichever one you guys prefer to use. Most people use 1080, some people do use 720. It really just depends on your hardware and what you can push. For your rate control, you're always going to want to use CBR. It's always going to give you the best quality that I've found, and that's normally what everyone else recommends as well. For your bit rate, mine's currently a little bit high, but most of you guys will need to set this down to around 6,000. Your keyframe interval should be 2. Now, earlier I said my OBS is going to look a little different than yours. I'm currently using the new 28.1. You guys will not have this, or at the time of me recording, most people don't. So normally you don't have the preset. You have quality, max quality, low latency performance, a couple other options, but I currently do not have that version of OBS, so I can't really tell you. But from what I'm seeing here and what I can tell you about this version of OBS, the P6 preset, the slower, better quality, is the best for me on Twitch right now. You guys can check out my live videos and past VODs daily. They're always on my Twitch, so you guys make sure to check that out. For your tuning, you want to put that on high quality. It's going to give you the best quality. It's going to be clear, crisp, and it's also going to give your viewers a decent experience while they're watching. Right here, it has multipass mode. I don't really know what multipass does. I was told by another content creator, so I'm just passing on my information, to use 2 passes at quarter resolution. So that way it's using your GPU and it's not overloading it. Most of these, this version of OBS is only for current RTX cards, 20 series up to 40 series. So that's one of the main reasons why I was reminding you guys your OBS would more than likely look different. Your profile, you always want to set that to high. Look ahead, I've always turned off. I've never really found out a use for it because it drastically changes your B frames and it taxes your GPU. Psycho visual tuning, I always have that on because it's just been on since I've started using it. I mean, I can't sugarcoat it. I don't really know what it does. Your GPU, always set that to 0. It always finds it for you. It's auto. And your max B frames, always set that to 2. Okay, so in your audio tab, mine's going to look completely different than you guys, but hence, that's why I said mine's going to be different. In your desktop audio, you want to use your headset or whatever device is picking up the audio that you are hearing from. So in my case, I'm using the speakers, Realtek R Audio, and it's going directly into my headset. Your mic auxiliary audio needs to be your streaming mic or whichever headset mic or whatever you guys are using currently. They sell mics cheap, fairly cheap, but you guys get the idea. Make sure that you set your mic to whichever one it is that you guys want to use. All this other stuff, you don't really mess with that. You just really set it up here and you move on to your video tab. Okay, so your base resolution normally is your base resolution is normally the size of your monitor. When I say the size of your monitor, if it's a 1920 by 1080, it goes by the pixels and resolution of that monitor. If you have a 1440p monitor, you will want to find the pixel resolution for that monitor. For your output, make sure that that matches this unless you are downscaling for a purpose. I downscaled to 936p because I think it looks better on my behalf. You guys may want to use 1280 by 720. You guys may want to use 1920 by 1080. But currently, that's what works best for me, so that's how I've left it. For your downscale filter, you either want to use Lanczos or bicubic. This gives you the sharpest and clearest image, but if your computer cannot handle it, step down to bicubic and it will not tax your computer as much. So it's really preference and your hardware. For your common FPS values, most of the time people stream in 60 FPS. If you're playing slower paced games that doesn't involve a lot of high action, a lot of movement, you may get away with 30. But it really depends on what kind of gaming you're going to be doing and what kind of content you're going to be pushing out. So most of these settings are really based on what you are going to be doing and what your preference is for how it looks outside of what you're seeing on your screen. Hotkeys is really just a way so that way you can set up a key or a function to start the stream, stop the stream, vice versa. Like if you see stop recording or start, you can just click a button and it will start the action or stop it. So it's totally up to you if you guys want to use these, or you can just get like a Stream Deck, what I'm using, or other people also have like a little number pad that they've linked to do solely this. So this is really just a preference thing. You guys don't have to use those, so it's totally up to you. Accessibility, I would never use this. I don't see a reason for using it unless you just need it for something. Okay, in your advanced tab, this is solely going to go based off your hardware. Again, your process priority, you can either set it to high, above normal, normal, below normal, or idle. Most of the time, you want to shoot for high or above normal. If you have a lower end PC, you may want to step it down to normal. But above normal and normal is kind of like for your mid tier and higher end PCs. So you kind of get the idea of what I'm saying. Like you've got to make sure your hardware is capable of pushing out this content at the resolution you want it at. So that way you've got the best quality and the best viewers experience. None of these settings really get changed. I personally had to change my color space to sRGB because my streams looked a little washed out. Certain little things that I nitpicked about, but that's my preference. Most of the time, everybody leaves this the way it is. You don't really have to touch it. Your color range, like I said, normally people leave that to partial, but I put mine on full because I'm nitpicky about it. Like I said, you guys do what you want. It's your stream. You can do it however you want, but this is my personal preference. And at the end of the day, you're going to push out your streams. You're going to make that content. If you have those viewers that respect your grind, they're going to be in there no matter what. So always keep that in mind. Recording, this really just shows you the file format. I've never messed with this, so I wouldn't really recommend touching it. Stream delay, this only applies if you want a delay in your stream. Most of the time people don't. They want like in real time reaction and communication between their chat and their stream not to be really far behind. The automatically reconnect feature is always on. You don't really have to enable it, but if something were to happen that causes you to lose connection to Twitch, it'll try to reconnect on its own, so that way you don't lose that broadcast, and maybe it can come back up before you have to start up another live stream. Network, I never really touched this. A lot of people say you can use the dynamically change bitrate to manage congestion. What it really does is it fluctuates your bit rate in case you have an unstable internet connection, which most people are running wired, not wireless nowadays. But in the case that you are running wireless, if you decide, hey, look, my stream's not holding consistent or whatever, try to tick this on. I'm not going to say it's going to work great, but make sure you test and troubleshoot in between, so that way you'll know what the best settings for you are. Okay, sources. Key tip, when you are using OBS, please make sure to disable this. Hardware acceleration is always bad. It taxes your CPU. It causes things to glitch, freeze up, and it uses more processes than you really need to be using. At the end of the day, you guys can decide if you keep it on or off, depending on what kind of sources you guys are using within your scenes. But it's totally up to you guys, 110%. But with your hotkeys, yet again, it's a preference thing. If you guys set up hotkeys, this will be linked with that, vice versa. But that right there has shown you guys the most that I can show you without doing it myself. It's pretty self-explanatory. Once you start doing it, you get a niche for it. You begin to get it as a natural occurrence. So make sure you guys are watching step by step and taking the time to learn these things, even if you have to watch multiple videos. It takes practice and patience to do these things. And when you do them, you're achieving your goals that you thought could never be achieved. You guys take care.